and his arm just goes and you've been hit by that Norwich spell, and now you got to suffer with the Norwich spell, and it will only go well until your goalkeepers are recovered. Welcome back, guys, to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 injuries for goalkeepers in the Premier League this season so far. I know it's a lot to process. And obviously we're going to be talking about the goalkeepers who have been injured and are back from injury currently now, and just how it happened, what game they played it in. So let's get into it. Now we're going to start off with the first injury that actually took place in the Premier League. This was the opening match of the Premier League this season, Liverpool versus Norwich City, and I think we all know who got injured. Yes, it was ALISSON. I mean, you had one job. It's the first game. Your replacement Adrian, he did really well. I mean, he was definitely not expecting to play within the second game of the season. But obviously ALISSON did come out within the first half, and with a calf muscle injury, and had been out for around 7 weeks, and he has returned, and he is back to training, back to games, and he's playing just as well, and some might say even better. But obviously Adrian, during his time off the bench, because he was like ready to get my seat ready just for the rest of the season, because ALISSON, nothing could happen to him. And then he hears the referee blows whistle, and then he sees the physios charging over onto the pitch, and he's like, who's coming off? Is it one of the outfielders? Is it Van Dijk? Is that you? And he's like, is that ALISSON? Does that mean I get to go on?
Yeah.
Does that mean I get to go on?
Yeah.
Klopp's just giving that sign, and he's like, yeah, let's go on. And then he's ready and raring to go, and within a couple of weeks he was playing in the Super Cup, and they won within the penalty shootout and against Chelsea, and that was just a boost. And for ALISSON, that was a very, I would say it's a more sad time than you would expect, because if you've just started the season and you're just like, it's like the beginning of a new year. It's like yeah, I've got all these objectives to do in it, but then when you've got an injury and you're out for 7 weeks, and football is for these footballers, and for myself, it's kind of like something that you do in your everyday life, and for not being able to do it, it just takes this chunk away from you. But when you get back, you're like, I'm back, and then you can do everything that you haven't done. But overall, I think it was kind of what happened was he went for a goal kick, and I think he just pulled something, and he just went horribly wrong, and obviously he had to be substituted. But that was good for Adrian, obviously, so it's kind of like a win-win for both. Well, not for both, win-lose. So yeah, we're going to move on to another goalkeeper. Moving on, this injury for this goalkeeper is more severe, and it will take longer for him to heal, and this is LUKASZ FABIANSKI, who plays currently for West Ham, and his replacement is Roberto, and dare might I say, he has been playing very well so far. I mean, he has literally come in out of nowhere. I actually gonna put my hands up, I actually didn't know who he was, and just you see him coming out, and it's like it's a normal thing now, because it did happen against he tore his hip, so that's not something that you want, and he's said to be out for the rest of the year and further, which is unknown. But obviously he came in, and he's like the superhero, if you might say, because West Ham, when they want to play well, they will play well, but when they just for some reason just switch off, it's like he's always awake, he's always alert, he's made top class saves, he's kept them in the game as much as he could, even though some teams, like when they played Newcastle, and Newcastle somehow out of nowhere they were scoring left, right and centre, but it could have been a lot more if Roberto wasn't in goal. And then West Ham did make a good comeback with Snodgrass, but just wasn't enough, and I think if they would have switched on earlier in the game, they would have come out with more points instead of just taking a loss. And I think it was very unfortunate for him. But I think this season he's done really well, and for Fabianski, that's a painful injury to take, especially around here, because that's how a goalkeeper moves. Like, everything goes on your here and further down and basically everywhere, but this is the center part, and if you're immobile from here, then you can't make any type of save. There's no save you can say that you don't have to either like move your body or like, you know, change your shape or something, because they all do, and it's torn hip, and obviously you'll be out for quite a while. Hope get well soon. Now moving on, we've got he plays for the best team in the world, and if you haven't guessed already, it is Aston Villa, and this is Tom Heaton, and he did get injured in training before our game against Wolves, and his replacement was actually Jed Steer, but then he got injured, and now it's Nyland, the very young goalkeeper, and he actually did pretty well during the game. But so I'm gonna, from now on, if you don't remember Norwich's goalkeeping spell where Tim Krul gets injured, then Farman comes on, he gets injured somehow from a penalty. I don't get how do you get injured from a penalty? I just don't understand. And he gets injured from a penalty, so then McGovern has to go in goal. So in total, they have used three goalkeepers until, if you want to add McGovern in. So from now on, if that ever happens with any club, I'm gonna call it the one and only Norwich spell. So say Middlesbrough, no, not Middlesbrough, they're not in Premier League. Say Sheffield's goalkeeper. Say Henderson gets injured, and then another one comes in, and then another one comes in. I'll call it the Norwich spell. You've been hit by the Norwich spell, and you are now not cursed, but obviously, like, you've been hit by that Norwich spell, and now you gotta suffer with the Norwich spell, and it will only go well until your goalkeepers are recovered. And you don't want to get hit by the Norwich spell. No Norwich spell. No to the Norwich spell. VAR. No to the Norwich spell. Like, not anybody want that Norwich spell. So obviously, you know, just ranting a little bit. But obviously, Norwich had the same problem that we had, and his injury is actually unknown. I couldn't find any like proper information about what his injury was, but he did miss out on the England versus Kosovo final qualifier that they had for the Euros, and that's kind of unlucky because I'm not sure if Pickford actually did play, but they said that Tom Heaton would have got a start, but that's actually really unlucky, because if he would have, he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a start, you know, Southgate's gonna put me on just for this qualifier. But in the end, he did get injured, and it was in training just before the Wolves match, which was really unlucky, because at the Wolves match, the entire Villa game, we just didn't play up to what Villa can play, because we saw it against Newcastle when we played really well. We moved the ball, we got chances, we should have scored way more than 2, but for some reason we just couldn't finish it. And if only would have done that against Wolves, we maybe would have picked up a point or 2, or maybe even 3, if we would have, you know, put away chances or even worked better as a team. But Jed Steer, I don't even know what to say. Moving on to Nyland, he had a good game, and you know, Tom, you will make that England squad before you retire. You will, promise you that now. Now we're coming into the end, but we still have Ederson. Now he got injured during a game where it was just before their game against Liverpool, and that didn't go down well, because they then went and lost against Liverpool with Bravo in goal. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how Bravo's even the second goalkeeper. Like, he should be 3rd or even 4th, because he just played shocking. Like, I don't understand. He played the Bravo way. Yeah, he played the Bravo way. We'll call it that from now. Like, if he has them games, because Bravo, like, I don't know how to explain it, but he is a good goalkeeper, but for some reason he makes these so simple mistakes all the time. Like, they're always recurring, and when Fabinho scored, it was a really good shot, but it was at his near side. I mean, if it was at his far side, because it was a shot from a gun, that's how fast it was. But if it was at his far side, then I could have maybe like left it. But it was like, say that's the goal, he's like there and he shoots there, he still doesn't make it. And Fabinho's outside of the box. Like, if it's inside of the box, then that's a little bit different. But he was outside of the box and he still couldn't make the save. So it's not the best replacement for Man City. And going into their game just didn't go down well. But EDERSON will return did return for Chelsea's their game against Chelsea, and I think, you know, his injury was muscular. It doesn't specify like what it was, but it was something to do with his muscles. And yeah, overall, I think EDERSON, it was very unlucky at that time because Liverpool, they're leading at the moment with quite an advantage. They've got a 8 point gap, and I think it's going to be take some real good, you know, games and performances for Man City to get another to get up to where Liverpool are, and to go into the game against them and then lose. I don't think didn't go down well with Pep Guardiola. Now we're gonna finish off with by far the worst goalkeeping. Like, it's debatable, but if you don't want to see it, you don't want to see it. It's by far the worst goalkeeping injury on this list and so far in the Premier League. It is HUGO LLORIS's, and he dislocated his elbow in like the worst way. Because if you haven't seen it, I'll just give you a couple highlights. So basically, it's the third minute in a game, and the ball's crossed back, and I think it's just Brighton are just like, oh, the cross didn't go to one of our players, it's gone straight to the goalkeeper, he's going to play it out, and then we're going to start all over again. But no, I think when you see it on the replay, like, you can see it in slow-mo, he kind of like misses the floor with his feet and just drops the ball, lands, and his arm just goes and he's stretching off within the third minute, and then Tottenham going to lose 3-0. That is just terrible. I mean, it's just unbelievable but I mean, the replacement Gazzaniga is a top quality goalkeeper. I mean, against their games going ahead, he made so many good saves. Tottenham would have lost every single game because Tottenham just didn't play well. They didn't have the heart or the courage that they had before. And when Gazzaniga came in, even though they didn't have the heart, he was still making these saves. Like, it's not like he got disheartened even though they kept losing, because they were drawing games, they were barely winning games. They were winning it by the bare minimum. And I think when LLORIS is back, I mean, that's going to be taking a while. I mean, he's gonna be out for the rest of the year and more, which is unknown. But, you know, depending on, you know, when he gets back, we're gonna have to see how Tottenham do, because it's not looking too good at the moment. They're not playing the way that you would expect. Because when you think of Tottenham, that you think, oh, nearly top of the Premier League, but when you look at the table, they're not. They're nowhere near there. Well, I'm gonna have to wait and see. But guys, that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please give a thumbs up, the like bell, and please click that notification bell if you enjoyed this video. And please, if you want to see more of these videos, please subscribe and stay tuned. It is the big red button below, and please stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you next time.